Bethany Scott here, and welcome to my channel. Today I am unboxing a very belated January box of the month from Simon Says Stamp. They have something that they allow you to do, which is to add on to your order. If you have your box of the month coming up, they actually give you a lovely notification to say, hey, so you don't have to pay shipping again. Is there anything you want or need to add on? And this time around, I took them up on it, and I added on the Starry Night die plate, as well as the coordinating stencil, and it's Snowy Hills. I just thought, hey, this is a little versatile stencil. I'm going to add it to my crafty stash. But there is texture paste Twinkle that came along with January's box. And of course, I'm super delayed on opening this. Why? Because, well, the move. So everything is mostly, very loosely mostly put away. But, of course, not everything. And there's my little goodie. Wow. This is just looking fun. Okay. Set that to the side. Here is a stencil. It is snow, so that would be really cute. That snowflake with the texture paste, the crystal snowflake, and wow, that is some holographic paper. This is an envelope. This is cardstock, and oh, wow, holy coordination. There's also some shaker bits, cool tones, positively dazzling gems. You could put them in a shaker. You could just put them on a card with some glue. Winter's Gift. So this is a die, a coordinating die, and it looks like it should cut this out. So we'll have to keep those two together. The Snowy Tree die set. Whew, I'm loving it. And this embossing folder with just the snowflake. Hopefully you can see that. I am still working out my lighting in here, but I really think this pixie snowflake die plate or embossing folder is adorable. And then we have paper. So this is not a full set, but it looks like it's just little bits of the paper or the paper pack, which are very cute, very pretty, and just a lot of fun. So setting that aside, and then we have the stamp set, which is called the Small Things. So this you could turn into spring or winter, depending on how you color it. Evergreens, you can have that all year round. Manly cards, whatever. Find magic in the small things, warm birthday wishes. Nature reminds us to keep going. These are things that you can use actually all year round, depending on how you color it, design it, etc. And then, as if there isn't enough shiny stuff going on here, yet another cardstock with some shininess and some inspirational ideas. I love the with thanks on this. Oops, you can't see that. With thanks. And just the embossing folder and the gems. It's really, really simple, cute idea. And then you have the cardstocks that come in with this. And I want to play with this, but it's also not winter, at least in my mind, even though snow is still in our forecast for the week. I am mentally checked out of winter. I just cleaned the children's snow pants this week. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to figure out a way to make it not wintry. So if you bear with me for a moment, I'm going to figure out how to make something a little more spring oriented out of this box, especially because, yes, it's February that I'm opening this box. We are not out of the woods of the winter season yet, but I'm thinking spring. Spring is on my brain already, so I'm gonna be a little bit more creative and shop my own stash right now and see what I can come up with. So I will be right back. All right, I have shopped my crafty stash. Ooh, hard words are hard. Harder words. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to stamp out a little scene. We're going to make it springish. And I'm going to trim down this, but I'm going to start with the A2 size card base and then just trim down as I see fit. I don't know how I'm going to like it, but I'm going to try it and just establish a scene, something simple, and I think we're going to use the sentiment, find magic in the small things. And or grateful for you in every season. I'm going to add this find the magic later though, just in case I want to cut down more. But I'm going to put these two deer next to each other. And I was going to add the tree, but I'm going to keep it simple. We're not adding a tree today. Yeah. And then I'm going to stamp it out with the VersaFine Claire, the Nocturne. And I'm going to actually get them just a hair closer, so I'm going to stamp the one first. And I think I'm going to just color it while it's on here, just because I know I'm going to add the sentiment and cut it down later. And for whatever reason, this is just not. I had this problem the other day when I was using my Misty. So, I'm not sure why. Maybe the stamp is too sticky. Not sure. That is a beautiful deer. So I live in Wisconsin, and we have this thing where, just like if you were in India, deers are sacred. We actually, in the neighborhood, have an albino deer. I believe they've named her Penelope. But probably she's been around the neighborhood for quite some time now, several years. And in fact, she used to go right up to the apartment buildings that a friend of mine, well, actually, it was sisters, both of them lived there. Now the one got married and her husband moved in and the other one moved to a different apartment. But still, it was just always fun to see photos of the albino deer hanging out in their neighborhood. And so, yeah, it's kind of like India with the cows. There's a reference happening. I had to pause filming briefly because the alcohol ink markers that I was reaching for were about to threaten to come drop down on top of my fun over here. So I'm going to just test out the color. I think this is the darker brown I'm going to use for the antlers. And originally I wanted to use colored pencils, but colored pencils are nowhere to be found. And in fact, I know during the cleaning of things I unearthed a set I did not realize I had. So now I have two sets, but they're not where logically I would want or think I would have put them, which would be near all my other writing and drawing utensils. So I'm going to add that to the list of where did I put that, because I do remember housing it, I just don't remember where. And so alcohol ink markers, the Ohuhus, are definitely helpful in a pinch. But I'm just going to tell you that was not my plan. Alright, so we're going to use a more peachy color. Now, I'm going to use that for the inner ear. It's a peachy brown, so it's not really peachy. But for today, I will call it peachy. And then, even though the deer around here, this is usually white, I'm going to just make it that peachy brown for today, out of simplicity. So I'm not digging through my colors for the next hour. It's just a design choice. And you can just call it me being lazy. But I love coloring things. It's a soothing practice. A lot of times when you see someone who's gone through a heavy trauma, they have things now called adult coloring books for that kind of stuff, to help you work your way through emotionally. And I'm not sure if this brown is going to be light enough. Ooh, nope, I believe it is. So we'll use this more potato brown. It's actually, what is the name of it? Morin brown. And make it a fast coloring in. I might add some darker brown to the edges. But I'm doing it quickly because fur sometimes doesn't always remain the same color. So I'm just allowing little bits of white to poke through. Not a whole lot. Unless you were up close, you would not even notice, really. The way I get away with it is I kind of just use my brush strokes in the direction of the fur. Yeah, they have fur. It's like, it's not skin, they have fur. But growing up, deer were very frequent in our backyard. We, growing up, had a field on the other side of our fence. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to assume she's a doe. Yes, there's no antlers, so we're going to go with she's a doe. I'm going to be a little lighter colored. See how I feel about this one. This one is called Sand. It's not lighter, it's more brown. So she'll be a deeper color. A deeper sandy color. But yeah, growing up with deer racing around in our backyard, and in a fresh winter snow, seeing them come and eat at our tree leaves for nourishment before the trees. Or not the tree leaves. They would come. Well, we did have a crabapple tree that occasionally they would come and nibble at, but just seeing their footprints. I'm putting two stories together. I mean, when they came to visit, they would nibble in the spring on the tree leaves, and then it's always just a cool thing to see their hoof prints in the freshly fallen snow. So, always growing up around a deer-friendly environment. It's kind of cool. And use more of a peachy color for their noses. It's like a peachy brown. Or not peachy. A pink brown. And then for her, I'm going to put some accents with that peachy brown. Just give her a little texture in the shadowing here. Nothing super complicated, just mostly going right along those lines. Darkening some of these spots here. Giving some depth and dimension to her. Alright, and then I'm going to use the other color of the brown on this guy for his depth and dimension. So this is the base color for her. It's going to be his shadow color. And the nice thing about the alcohol inks is they kind of just blend in for you. So you don't have to be super specific. As it dries, it'll blend even further for you. And you just kind of go with the whimsy of it. I'll be a little deeper there. Accent that leg. All right. Now I'm going to ground the two. That's too dark. I'm going to ground the two. Let's see if a pinkish. Yeah, I'll just ground them. Let me move my magnet there. Just giving them, I know I'm going to cut it down, so that's why I'm just giving them that grounding. It's always nice to do that when you create a scene from scratch. And now I'm just going to blend back so you don't see the starkness of my strokes. And it's a little less contrasty. If I had made it a winter scene, I might have used some of this sparkle paste, the twinkle texture paste. That would have made a really beautiful snow scene. But this is what we've chosen today. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and figure out my measurements and then add my sentiment. So I want to leave this to the side to dry a little bit so I'm not smudging. I'm going to cut this this lovely navy blue down. I have my trimmer here. I'm going to cut it to my A2 size card base. So 4 1/4. Actually, I'll do 5 1/2. Why? Because we'll make multiple card bases out of this. Or card fronts. There we go. Alright. It's the nice thing about an 8.5 by 11 sheet. You can technically make 4 of these if you measure correctly. So I like to do that in bulk because then I can just grab and go for other projects and not have to overthink sometimes. So that I'm going to do. So off screen, I went and grabbed the Spellbinders February embossing folder of the month, and it is called Spring Stripes, which I felt like just fit how we are moving towards the spring here in this scene, and it kind of matched that peachy base color I put down. So I trimmed it already, pre-trimmed it before I put it in the embossing folder, and basically just leaving a hair of that blue color, because that blue color just becomes a frame. And now I'm going to trim down, before we add the sentiment, I'll trim down this scene, and I believe I want, well, I'm going to see what it looks like with this trim to the edge. So that's about 3 3/4 ish. So I'll trim that down on that side, and I'm going to just hold it up here to compare. I think I want it trimmed further because I want to see the embossing folder further. So I'm going to just trim by how I feel about my scene, not about the measurements. So I think that's just the direction I need to go to feel good about my scene. So, and then once I've finished trimming, then I'll make decisions on the rest. So that put me at about 3 1/4, which I believe I should see enough of the sheaths. Yes, perfect. So 3 1/4. So if this one, let's mathematically make it even. So if this one I cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/4, so 3 1/4. My math is not mathing. Okay, 3/4 less, so 4 1/2. Okay, so I'm just going to trim the base part here first. All right. So my math is mathin', and 4 1/2 should be the middle measurement for my scene, which hopefully leaves us enough space for the sentiment. Hopefully. Otherwise, we're going to get creative with this sentiment. So, fingers crossed. Take a deep breath. Find magic in small things. No, it does not fit. So, we're going to pivot a hair. And we're going to have to stamp the sentiment separately and just put it here in the base. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm pivoting. All right. I do have another sheet of the white cardstock. So I will go ahead and set that up in my MISTI. Don't need anything super fancy with this. Just a good stamping of sentiment. And I'm going to trim it out with my trimmer, mostly because I don't know where my fussy cutting scissors are. And I don't trust myself with the big scissors. If you follow Bitty Penny's channel, she has these gigantic scissors, and I cannot talk myself into being brave enough to use that large of scissors to cut things. Every time she brings it out, I gasp a little bit inside. Like, how brave are you? So great. All right, and nope, I'm not gonna even distress it. And yeah, now we've got our framing done. So let's grab a card base and get to gluing. Guess what, guys? I finally found the glue. I just apparently hid it too well from myself and the children. It was in my bin of sprays, which I don't use my distress sprays. They're actually a bin that's hidden. It's actually directly in front of me, but it's hidden behind the light that shines my face so I'm not in the dark. And it's also hidden behind a second light that I use when I am weeding in the very dark. And so, yeah, I have no idea why it was in the sprays, my texture sprays, because that is probably my least used stash, which now I'm going to have to challenge myself not, but that's probably my least used stash, and is why it's probably the least accessible thing. So yeah, I did do a deep dive to find it. Obviously, though, somehow I missed out on finding my colored pencils. So you can see I am still getting used to my setup. I did find my die cutting machine, or I knew where it was on a cart, but I'm still not set where it's housed. So right now it's on the floor by my feet. Yeah, I gotta figure that one out, because my die cutting machine I use a lot. So I really do love how this came together, though. And simple, fun, whimsical, but clean and simple as well. Kind of a touch of all my favorite worlds. And I will put that one under an acrylic plate here briefly, so it has time to adhere to the, here, I'll throw some weight on it. An acrylic block, not plate, I know what I meant. And I'm gonna just glue this down. I'm not gonna foam tape it. I'm gonna keep it simple, just because it's gonna be going right over an embossed folder for part of it, and I wanna make sure it actually adheres and doesn't lift. And I fear that the foam tape, it'll lift a little. So that should be enough for the glue. Centering it, and let's see. Let's put that under some weight here. I'm going to try to open this. Ooh, I used some muscle there. I don't know where my picker is, so we're just gonna go old school. That's a teal. Let's use a blue. Do we have any blues? That's a purple. That's a green. That's a blue. Alright, so there's a mix of colors in here. And I'm just going to grab 3. 1, 2, and maybe a big one. 3. Yep. Perfect. So now I'm going to use the stickiness of my own hand and finagle. Put my big one first. This is going old school here. All right, put some pressure on that while it adheres. And third one. Ooh, I lost it. I need more glue now. This is why I need to find the picker poker. Or whatever you want to call it. Everyone has a little different name for it. Oh no! I don't want you there. Or on my letters. Alright. Now I can say I have completed this, and it's fun, whimsical, and cute. And it didn't take a whole lot of time. More than I anticipated, but look at how fun that is. I love it, love it, love it. So we did a little coloring, we did a little embossing, and we turned something that I could have just gone with the winter theme and call it a day, but I really wanted to spring this up. Next time I'll make maybe a longer or a bigger photo and add that tree, because I really want that tree to be like somehow pink shaded. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope you like that I'm going back through the things that I had gotten a while back and just decided, like, hey, I'm not gonna let this just sit in a box. I gotta use it. And yeah, so apologies that Simon Says stamp. This is the January box in February, but we're making it a spring box too, so versatile. I'm showing all the versatility. Anyways, I have announcements coming up soon, so you want to make sure you pay attention. We are also nearing 900 subbies, so that means that you gotta share so then I can release the goodies. I have two. I do know where the goodie packages are. That's one good thing I do know. So my freebie giveaways that I'm ready to do as a drawing for when I do hit those 900 subbies, which I believe the last time I checked I was only 8 away. I could be wrong. As of the posting of this, I haven't checked in a couple days, so apologies if I'm wrong. But anyways, just like, share, subscribe, send this out to your friends, and hopefully they can find some crafty inspiration or just enjoy the chats. I do intend to schedule some lives here soon as well. Hoping to get on a regular schedule, but it is tax season, so I never know what my days are gonna look like. Sometimes I know in advance, other times it's just flying by the seat of my pants all the time. Thank you all for sticking in with me today and just talking through the creative process. I had a lot of fun. I really love what I came up with, and I hope it inspires you all to do something crafty today or just in the future. Come back to this video and learn. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to find the joy in your day, and happy making. Bye!